Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're a prospective homeowner in the notoriously brutal Los Angeles market, you already know that timing isn't just everything, it's literally the only thing. Well, today we are looking at a massive golden window of opportunity that just swung wide open, all thanks to a major shift in the economic landscape. We're going to break down exactly how this macroeconomic news is your moment to finally build or remodel that dream home, and how you can navigate what is usually a totally chaotic process smarter, not harder. Okay, let's jump right into this. 0.5%. I know, it sounds like absolute pocket change, right? But trust me, in the world of real estate, this is an earthquake. For the first time in 4 years, the Federal Reserve has actually cut interest rates by a half percentage point. That single number is a total game changer for housing affordability, your borrowing power, and construction financing. It completely changes the math on what is possible for you right now. So, to help you leverage all of this, here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start with the federal rate cut opportunity, look at the economics of home construction, cover the specific benefits of lower rates, dive into the design build advantage, and then wrap up with 4 steps to your home. Let's start with Section 1, the federal rate cut opportunity, and what this historic shift in borrowing actually means for you. Just to make sure we're all on the same page, an interest rate is basically just the premium you pay to access capital. When you're looking at financing a massive project, like a custom home build or a major remodel, you're probably looking at a home equity line of credit, or a HELOC, or maybe a construction loan. Your interest rate dictates exactly how much extra you are paying a bank just for the privilege of accessing that money to build. Which brings us to Section 2, the economics of home construction, and how these rates affect your build. When rates are sky high, your construction loan honestly feels like an anchor, just chaining you to this massive monthly financial burden. Every single dollar you borrow is incredibly expensive, but when the Fed drops that rate, the pressure completely releases. Borrowing gets cheaper, your costs decrease, and you instantly shift from carrying dead weight to actually wielding increased purchasing power. Plus, in a hyper-competitive market like Los Angeles, this kind of drop stimulates demand. That can lead to higher home values down the road, which means a much greater return on your investment if you decide to build today. All right, Section 3, the benefits of lower rates, also known as the buyer's windfall. So the most immediate and obvious perk here is lower monthly payments. Because less interest is accruing over the life of your loan, your monthly bills actually shrink. But here's where the real magic happens. Instead of just handing that extra cash straight to the bank, you get to keep it in the house. That financial relief is literally the difference between having to settle for standard builder-grade finishes and actually securing those cutting-edge, energy-efficient upgrades you thought you were going to have to cut from the budget. And building on that, a lower rate actively increases your overall borrowing power. Since the monthly cost of borrowing is cheaper, you can qualify for a larger loan while still keeping your monthly payments safely within your comfort zone. I want you to really visualize what that means for your footprint. We're talking about the difference between a standard kitchen and a fully custom culinary space that actually makes you want to cook. It's the ability to add a dedicated home office, a stunning outdoor patio, or finally putting in that pool you've been dreaming about forever. But hey, what if you aren't looking to build a brand new home from scratch? Well, this redrop creates incredibly favorable refinancing conditions too. If you're an existing homeowner and you've been putting off a major remodel or an addition because the financing just seemed way too daunting, this is your moment. You can refinance at this new lower rate to drop your current mortgage payments. Or better yet, you can finally unlock your existing home equity to fund that long delay transformation. Finally, for those of you who are building new, this rate drop makes construction loans incredibly attractive. Unlike a traditional fixed-rate mortgage, construction loans usually come with variable rates that bounce around. So, when the Federal Reserve cuts rates, these variable rate loans become significantly more affordable almost overnight. This drastically reduces your financial strain precisely when you need it most, giving you immense immediate relief during that super stressful phase when the foundation is pouring and the walls are finally going up. Moving on to Section 4, the design build advantage. Let's look at the local solution for Los Angeles. Okay, so how you actually execute your build is absolutely crucial. Traditional home building usually splits design and construction into 2 totally separate camps. If you've ever done a remodel, you know this is a recipe for the classic architect versus contractor finger-pointing game, right? You end up stuck in the middle with a totally blown budget. Well, Letter 4 changes the game by operating on a design-build model. By putting architecture and construction under one roof, you eliminate those disputes entirely. It lets you maximize your newly expanded budget without sacrificing custom quality. because the exact same team drawing your plans is the team sourcing your materials. Plus, in a tricky city like LA, they bring deep expertise in local building codes and integrate sustainable, eco-friendly practices, like solar panels, right from day one, which saves you serious money long-term. And finally, Section 5, 4 Steps to Your Home, featuring the clear 4-step process. If you're feeling hesitant about the typical chaos of construction, this framework is your antidote. It takes what is usually a massive, completely overwhelming undertaking and breaks it down into 4 highly structured, logical steps: the initial consultation, your action plan, the technical phases, and the build phase. It organizes all of that usual chaos into total transparency, letting you finally breathe a sigh of relief. Let's look a bit closer at how each phase works as a milestone. First up, the initial consultation. This is where your vision, your budget, and your timeline all meet reality. Next is your action plan. And you don't just get some loose concept here. You get a custom floor plan and a hard, all-in budget that you approve before moving forward. No surprises. Then comes the technical phase. That's the heavy lifting of engineering drawings and submitting for city plan checks to get your final construction bid. And finally, the build phase. Letter 4 handles the permits, they manage the subcontractors, and they deal with the inevitable daily chaos. You just get regular updates, and ultimately, you get the keys. Which brings us to our final thought. The macroeconomic stars have totally aligned for us here. The Federal Reserve has lowered the barrier to entry, handing you a historic window of increased purchasing power and lower monthly payments. And all the chaotic logistics of building? Those have been solved through a unified, stress-free design-build process. The rates have dropped, so are you ready to build smarter? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and we'll see you next time.